Hello and welcome to the first qualifying session for the American 700. This is session D. These are the latest cars to sign up on our entry list, and there's a lot of cars on here in this group in this first 10-minute session that aren't exactly expected to qualify for the race, but there's some very fast ones. So my prediction is that either those fast cars like the Voltics, both the Voltic teams are in here, that's of Jeffrey Finguy and William Duncan, they will either struggle to make it in. There's also the 36, I believe, of Sean Perkins is in here. Nick Mace is in here also, former champions. But they will either struggle to make it in because there isn't a whole lot of drafting help anywhere else, or they will start pulling other more mediocre cars up the grid for this session. Now remember, there is a big board that everyone's going to be fighting for at the end of the session. Remember, only the top 40 will be guaranteed spots in the American 700, and then positions 41 through 124 are in the qualifiers, and then everybody else has to go into the Richard Baxter You Tried Hard race. Consolation race, as David Levin's going to be the first car out there, first car to set a hot lap, and we've got a couple of cars that are going to try to make this race. This group could be a bit of a wild card group where we're not exactly sure who's going to make it and who won't, as we got two of the, I believe, Amtrak cars coming out of the pits right now. No, that's a Visa Lola. Fox does not want to be stuck behind that car very long. That's Brian Fox in the Amtrak team car. And David Levin should be the first one across the line, and he will do it in... actually, Apolika Paul's the first one. He will do a 35-1, and you're going to see the... Oh, William Duncan with a 35-1. I'm sorry. William Duncan's currently the fastest car on track right now. I'm not exactly sure what a good time's going to be here, but Duncan's... Oh, that's Pollard there. Don't want to be held up too much there by someone like that in the 410 car. Finguy's got some good drafting help from Jordan Fisher. Fisher's looking very strong today. As Nick Mace goes to the top of the board, former American 700 champion to the top of the board. I'm also looking at Sean Perkins, the three-time champion. Doesn't have a lot of drafting help around. We might have some from Adam Vincent, but we're already seeing a varied approach in qualifying right now. As we're seeing, the Visa Lolas aren't very fast, and a couple of other cars aren't either. As some of these 52s, obviously, they counted their pit times. They're coming out. Alan Cavagnaro in the one of the FPM cars, or FBM cars, not FPM, FBM one-off cars, is looking quick. Max Tender to the top of the board. That's an impressive showing there by Tender. I didn't really expect Max Tender to be that strong right away. And right now, Tender is looking very quick there. He's battling with Gurian and Cavagnaro. Tender might get onto this race. Oh, Sean Perkins predictably to the top of the board, doing a 34.5. What a run by Perkins there. He was working with Sam Curtis in the Amtrak car, Matteo DeCampo, Greg Dubbs in the Forza Vet, and actually I'm surprised that Warner... no, Warner's kind of slow right now. But a lot of these cars, if I'm like... well, Duncan's up there and Finguy's up there, but you've got to... If you're Finguy, you got to be up a little further than that, I think, right now. Although he's working with his teammate, they should be quick here, especially if they're going to start coming up to Brian Fox and David Levin. They're going to get a nice tow off them, and you've got you got a lot of fast cars in one line there. McBlair goes the fastest in the third Koenigsegg, and now Cavagnaro goes to the top of the board predictably there with Duncan and Finguy. So we're starting to see who's strong and who isn't. Like if you're Sanyan Huan, Pyong Ko, and the Visa Lola, Amanki and the Visa Lola, you're going to have a tough time getting into this race, I think. You've got Fitzgerald also struggling very mightily, and they're quite a ways off the pace. A lot of slower cars in this session. There's no full-time cars, I think, in the first two sessions at D or C. And we're just seeing who will make it and who won't. And it looks like Obviously, we're not going to know for a little bit of time who's going to make it and who won't. But we're starting to get an idea here. If I'm like Sean Perkins even, I would want to be a little further up the grid if I were him. Because this group we know isn't exactly the fastest, and he's not really with a good pack of cars yet. Although he's coming up to the Gasnier, or the Sidenel, Takumi Hirano, and they're all getting held up by the racing team car. So, with only 4 minutes to go, Sean Perkins really has got to start getting a little bit more anxious here. I'm sorry, I forget the name of that car on the outside, or in the middle there. It's a French manufacturer. Anyway, on the track now, Perkins, like I said, doesn't have a whole lot of drafting help here. As I'm going through the order, who else, or that's not Curtis, that is Perkins, rather. A couple of cars towards the back that I'm kind of surprised at. Kyle Matthews, he's made the race before. Matthews has. Not a whole lot of drafting help there. Pollard I know has made this race before with the Action Terra team, although he has not had any drafting help yet. Ash Curtis, back here. Not a whole lot of surprises. Ace Vito, Grayson Ace Vito's made this race, I know for a fact before, and he is struggling mightily. I think they might have engine problems, but he's smart. He's going on to get no, I'm sorry, he doesn't have engine problems, but he is on the pit road getting tires, and we're starting to see Aplilika Paul's made this race, I know, before, and I'm not exactly sure where he is on the grid. Not very good, to be honest with you. You've got to be... Oh, no, he's 7th. That's decent. It's going to be close if he makes it or not, but... Ooh, I think we saw a car with an issue there. That might have been Malik Nevins in the 80. Malik Nevins is not strong right there. And, only 3 minutes to go. Cavagnaro, Finguy, and Duncan are all up there with McBlair and Perkins. Not a whole lot of surprises in that group up front. Gurian's a bit of a surprise. I didn't really think Gurian would be that strong. And we actually have a tie between Perkins and Gurian, so that's going to be interesting to see if there would be a tiebreaker on that. Unless if Perkins sets a quicker lap here. Doesn't look like it because he gets held up by the 90. That is of Matthews. Where's Gurian on track? Remember, this is also a battle for the pole too, so you got to be really careful if you're someone like Sean Perkins here, who I think Perkins actually does have the tiebreaker because it is your best. If there's a tie that takes place, it's your best American 700 finish. So Ben Gurion does not have that, and Perkins has 3 wins, so Perkins would get in on that. But right now, Gurion's actually, I think, going to be drafting with, right now, the provisional pole sitter, Alan Cavagnaro. Ooh, crash in front there. That is, I believe, the Pumake car, or Amk car. So we're going to see what happened to Amk here. So something breaks on the Amk car here, and looks like the car loses it here, and on the grass just got a little bit of air and lost control of it. Tough break for Amk. But anyway, further up the field, oh, looks like we've got a car grenading there. That is Gurion. So Ben Gurion grenading his car. That's not good if you're Gurion here. This year we do not have the rule where you have to finish the session to get into the race. So Gurion is locked in, but unless if Perkins sets a quicker lap, he's pretty much done for this session. So Gurion is locked into 4:15 pretty much. Anyway, with not too long to go, Sean Perkins anyway jumps up a couple of spots with a 3:05 there. As we're going through here, just seeing what we've got here, I'm thinking right now it's Cavagnaro, Finguy, Duncan, Perkins, and McBlair at the top of the grid here. With only a handful of time to go, I'm thinking someone like Malik Nevins and a couple other cars are going to have issues here. So that's going to be a tough break for them. And that's it for the session. They're allowed to complete their laps here. And it doesn't look like there's a heck of a lot going on changing-wise at the top of the grid. Oh, Eric DeMax jumps up in front of Gurian. That's a big one. Of course, Eugene DeMax's son there jumps in the fifth FBM car. Drafting with Sean Perkins. They've got 2 seconds. They're not going to get it. And that's it for the session right there. And we'll take a look at your big board here. So here's your big board, and a couple of cars didn't even set lap times there. We're going to get a little bit of info on them. And those cars, I believe, are the two racing for North Korea cars. Didn't even set a time, so they're automatically going to go into the Baxter race, I believe, because they did not set times. So that's it for this session here. And we will then go through the order. So I'm thinking if you're above, like, because there's 4 sessions, obviously if you're safe would probably be about 6th or above, I would say. But beyond that, it's kind of leery if you're in the race, and then when you get down the order, there's some pretty crummy cars down there. So anyway, as we've looked through the order there, that is it for this session. We will see you in Session C.